about tomorrow.
I've never asked anybody this before. Okay, so I wrote a song one time and recorded it, and then I think I called it Sunday because it just reminded me of relaxing on a Sunday, like let's say at the lakefront or something,
yeah.
you know. And I brought it to somebody and let them listen to it, and be damned if he didn't say, it reminds me of relaxing on a Sunday. I felt like I just had a Jesus moment,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I was speechless for
Yeah.
a moment, you know? So I guess in that capacity, in some of the music that you write and play for others, do you feel like you're able to communicate with your instrument? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A vibe or an attitude, or
yeah,
do
definitely.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think too, like going back to talking about like different styles of music, like trying to combine the stuff that we like into like forming our own sound, you know, and doing that with our own songs has been super fun, because like we only since maybe the past year we've really been like getting down and writing our own stuff and
Sure.
coming up with our own composition and having, you know, specific parts for specific instruments, not necessarily writing it all out, but trying to write your own part, you know, on your instrument, which is
Sure.
very difficult to do if you're not used to doing it. And I think definitely as we've started to get more comfortable with it, and you know, it kind of, you automatically start writing stuff like on a bass that is more you than somebody else. And I think like the writing a song that is supposed to convey a feeling, I think comes easier too when you have like an idea of like, what do I want to feel, like you were saying, like I want to feel like a Sunday afternoon. It's all, I mean, that's what music is just like feeling. So if you have some sort of feeling, especially on like a more of a melodic instrument, you know, like a piano or
certainly,
yeah, like it's easier to convey that for sure. And I think yeah, I mean, I think as we've progressed and as we've like started writing more and trying to work together with each other, it's easier to kind of just be like, what do we want this to feel like and sound like, and kind of just do it. I think,
yeah,
you know, getting more comfortable with that as a band, and then also like I've been the main one writing more of the words and the lyrics. So trying to figure out, you know, if my brother Tucker comes in with a song, you know, like what do I feel when I hear the song,
and kind of build off of that.
Yeah, to kind of like write lyrics to, or if I have a certain idea already that I can kind of,
yeah. I think writing and releasing your first album is going to help with that as well, because you're just like, you know, song structure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tongue twister.
Yeah, last night.
Alliteration is awesome.
Yeah. So, you know, song structure, and you think about that while you're writing songs and bringing in instruments for certain parts. I think the same could be said for the anatomy of an album, because it's supposed to convey its own story.
Yeah.
A lot of people will say, I mean, arguably, but you're going to want a few party tracks here, then you're going to want maybe something a little more emotional here.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess it'll reinforce the importance of being able to elicit that variety. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
in the writing process,
definitely.
you know, you'll be able to reverse think about some of these things, I think, in the future, and that'll help you out. With so many people in the band, how many pieces of songs are being thrown in the pot at the same time? I mean, it's got to be a lot.
Yeah, that's and that's definitely something too, that like you have to do it and like get through the difficulty of trying to work in certain parts, or being able to say like, maybe let's not put that part in you know, this song, but maybe we could use it in another song, or maybe, you know, it's just a lot of like, you have to compromise, you know, especially like if I come in with a song that I have a specific idea for, a lot of times it will inevitably change just because there's 8 other people or however many other people, that get a certain feeling or a certain idea from what I have. But there's a, you have to compromise and be willing to kind of go somewhere where you might not have thought that it could go.
Have you ever seen it fall into place, like everybody just showed up that night with stuff that went together?
Yeah, it's definitely.
Seriously?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like we've been working on one. We didn't record it. We didn't record it for the EP, but we'll end up doing it probably for the full length thing. And my older brother kind of had an idea for a song, and then I was like, oh, we kind of just mess around on it, and just jam and try to get. It's almost like musical vomiting.
Yeah,
you're just
throw
like
it all out
throwing
there.
every idea you have possible. Because inevitably, like once you keep going, you'll find something where it's like, okay, I can work with this, and
sure.
And so we got to that point with this specific one, and then the horns. This was just the rhythm section, so guitar, bass, drums. I think Dalton was probably there as well on percussion and keys, and we kind of had a brainstorm of a certain idea that we wanted to kind of continue with, but it was pretty much just one section of a song.
Yeah.
And then we jammed a little bit with my cousin who plays guitar, and it just was like, oh, here we go. All right, we have a chorus part now, and we have a little, like interlude section or whatever.
Sure. And a lot of sounds coming in all at once.
Yeah.
I would imagine you're not at a loss for inspiration, because
Yes.
somebody's gonna have something all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
That's great, man.
Yeah, and then the horns kind of came in and just have been working up a little part, and from where it started too. It's just so cool because we always take like voice memos of every time we play, just to have, especially if you come up with an idea, you're like,
sure, I
want to remember that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
And just going back and listening to it, and then kind of using that as like a bass line, but it's starting to form, and I've got some words to it now, and but yeah, it was just kind of like it just happened. And then there's other songs too, like that one of the songs we recorded for the EP where I was just playing bass by myself, and I kind of came up with a couple of little parts, and it ended up just being that was the song, but I didn't really plan it to be that.
Sure.
It just kind of happened, I guess.
Yeah. And I wanted to get you to attempt to explain the sound of your band for people that haven't heard it but might be listening to this.
Yeah.
Because let me start by saying it was crazy to me, because I recognized some of the songs that y'all are playing, and then it morphs into something else, which I think is unique, and it needs to be said,
Yeah. So originally when we started playing, we were playing pretty much only covers. But the music that I like, that I listen to probably the most, we'll play covers, but it's not the song that you would originally hear. There's a lot of Allman Brothers songs or a lot of Allman Brothers albums where they do covers, and it's like, this is not the song at all, but it's their own thing.
Sure.
Which to me, that's how you express yourself, I guess. But we try to kind of build on that. We're a huge fan of like jam bands, Dave Matthews and Dumpsta Funk, and like I said, like New Orleans, and just trying to pull in all these different pieces together into one cohesive thing. And I'd say, we're a. It's hard to describe. You don't want to pigeonhole yourself, but
yeah, no, it's not easy.
But I would say, definitely funk, soul, blues, and we just love to kind of try and take people, or the listener, somewhere else where they might not expect, especially, like if it's a cover or something like that. We try to, a lot of times, with live shows, we try to combine songs and without stopping, you know, like, so we'll play, you know, one of the ones two of the songs we cover, we do a John Cleary song called When You Get Back. Great song. One of my favorite artists, for sure. And, you know, it's just like this kind of New Orleans groove, sitting back a lot. And we play through the song, and then we transition to If You Want Me to Stay by Sly and the Family Stone. And it's in the same key, exact same chord progression and everything. And we try to just like seamlessly go into different songs through other songs. Just because it's when you catch people off guard too, especially live, you know, it catches people's ear, and you know, it makes you want to stay. And that's like Frenchman Street, especially, like if you're not interesting or like doing something interesting, like people are just gonna be like, all right, well, I'm gonna go to the next place.
You're one of many.
Yeah. Which that's want me to stay. Yeah. Which is like, that's the beauty of it too, because it really makes you like work to like keep people invested and interested and like want to stay. And so we try to kind of do that and transition into different songs from song to song. And just because like when we first started playing, I didn't really like, it was, you know, the first couple of times like on stage, you know, you don't really like know what to say like to the audience in between songs. So just like, let's just keep playing. So I don't have to talk.
Strictly antisocial efforts, nothing to do with melody or chord progression, right?
But now I'm more comfortable, so like we can stop a little more now.
Yeah. Did you have, so that was what it was to start.
Yeah.
It was a cover band that was presenting their own take on songs and combining songs, but it was covers. And then later on, y'all started to write your own material. Did somebody say, let's do this? Or, I mean, did you feel like it was necessary?
Yeah, I think when we first started playing, it was, you know, we were doing the covers and stuff just to be able to get gigs, I guess, because a lot of the other guys in the band had been in other bands where, you know, you start off and you only do original music, you know, which is great because you're writing stuff and you're doing your own parts, and that's how you get better musically. Obviously playing songs, you know, that are, you know, cover songs is great too. But you know, you play your own songs, you play, you know, an hour set, and it's all your own songs. Like, no one knows the songs. Obviously, once you play more...
Right, well, I mean, it can be a tough sell.
It's a tough sell.
Yeah.
And so we kind of just started like that, and... but we were always had the mindset of, you know, having our own music and writing our own music. And it just took time, and a lot of like the pandemic was spent doing that and just kind of working on our own stuff and just trying to get more serious at writing stuff. And it just ended up being where I've been writing pretty much all the lyrics to the songs if they have lyrics, and kind of combining forces with, you know, the horns and trying to get like I was saying before, like a cohesive sound. You know?
Yeah.
So that's not scattered all over the place. But yeah, it was definitely something that we wanted to do from the beginning, write our own music, and and we've kind of got the ball rolling now, where, you know, we're writing a lot, and we have the ability to kind of be like, this one's not so good, maybe let's work on this one more for right now, and you can always, obviously, you know, come back to stuff, and, you know, that's the voice memos too, just saving stuff for later, you know.
With the original lineup being covers, was it hard? Did you have to always be on the lookout for accidentally borrowing? Do you know what I mean? When you're writing? Because, I mean, it happens to everyone. You could sit for hours and write a song, and then you play it back the next day and you realize, that's not my song. Like, it sounds too much like this other thing I was listening to last week.
Yeah, it definitely, for sure. And then like that's just part of it, because I mean, the greatest, in my opinion, like the best artists are emulating somebody else.
Oh yeah.
You know, whether or not it's super obvious, or not, but doing it more, at least for me, has gotten me to the point where, you know, you can almost go into a song and be like, I want to write a song like in the vein of, you know, Fats Domino or whatever the artist may be. But like playing more as we have, you know, the last couple years, you kind of uncover your own kind of way of doing it,
sure.
You know, and where it's not them, it's not their song or it's not their sound, but you know, you could tell, okay, this is some, you know, he took some from here and some from here, and which is I like doing that because I love so many different artists, and you know, for me it's like I'm you know, it's out of respect, you know. Yeah. And it is hard too, because like you don't want it to be, you don't want somebody to be like, that's, you know, right. That's this person, you know. No. You want to be your own thing, and I think just doing it more gets you more comfortable in yourself, and yeah.
It is an interesting caveat to identity, I would say, because I mean there are a lot of musicians that I interview that they started playing at like 10 years old. Yeah. And at 10 years old, musician or not, you're still trying to figure out who you are as a person. Yeah. And then you grab an instrument, you don't know why, but now you have an additional void to fill up with your own sense of self-identity. Do you know what I mean? Yes. So coming out of covers and moving into originals, I would say presents that challenge in a different fashion. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you're discovering your own identity. You know what you like. Yeah. You know what I mean? But now it's time to figure out what you sound like. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, look at all these buttons. Give me some of this. And, oh, hey, look at that. I like that one, too. That's nice. And thumbs up, everybody. I want everybody to have a thumb. And I like sharing.